Hey Jesse, this is Detective Kano with the Sheriff's Office in Santa Fe.
Yes, sir.
Hey man, I just got a couple questions that we need to clear up.
Okay. Let me go out to my office.
Okay.
All right. Oh, get back.
Yeah, I'm here.
Go for it, brother.
All right, so you're listed as I know the deputy spoke to you guys, and he said that you were the property maintenance. Is that correct?
No, I'm the contractor. And basically, I have done work for them for 16 years or more. I don't know. And she owns lots of properties. And so we were always working on her projects. And we just had a project we were starting with her currently was it was going to be the fire mitigation up there. And so we had ordered a bunch of stuff, and we've been talking back and forth about the fire mitigation stuff that we were going to be doing at our house.
Okay, so you're the contractor. So who pays you? Them?
Yes, she pays me.
Okay, and
it depends on the project, because some projects are done under different, LLCs or trusts, you know what I mean? And so it depends on what job it is, because like I said, they own lots of properties.
Okay.
I mean, she owns commercial properties around town. They had ranches. They had tons of properties. They own lots of properties.
And you only work for them as involved in their properties, or do you have other?
No, I have other clients.
Okay. And as a contractor, what exactly do you specialize in? Fixing up the yard, landscaping, or
We do everything. We do everything. I'm a GC, so basically we do everything. Now, when it comes to, if you're trying to insinuate about carbon monoxide or something like that, trying to figure out who's in charge of that, basically other companies would get called in for that kind of work. And I don't know who she was using for that. A lot of times Dwayne dealt with that kind of stuff. When it came to mechanical, Dwayne dealt with it, because Dwayne was the one that basically the company Dwayne worked for 29 years ago is the one that put all that plumbing, all that stuff into place.
Okay.
And then years later, after Dwayne shut his company down, he went to work for them as their caretaker.
Oh, okay. So Dwayne was an actual caretaker, or just a property caretaker?
He's a caretaker, but he hadn't been up there a couple of years, because they used to go to Florida, and they'd be in Florida usually most of the winter, and would be returning around this time of year. And so when they were gone, of course, we had a whole list of things to do up at that property. Dwayne was always in charge of all that. And so Dwayne's always been the caretaker up there or on any of the other properties.
Okay, so Dwayne is a caretaker of their properties.
Yes.
Okay,
and I'll be honest with you, in the last 2 years, being that they stopped going out of town, okay? When they stopped going out of town and going elsewhere during the winter and having all their work done around there, it's been so hard to get anything done, because she didn't want, you only could go in there during allotted times, and the roof was falling apart. We had all this stuff falling apart. She would never give us enough time to get in there to really get work done. And so the place started kind of lacking on maintenance and that kind of stuff. So
just because they were here more often instead of going to
exactly.
So I'm a little confused on another thing. The deputy told me that you and Ronald went to go check on, because you guys saw the dog running around, and you guys went to go check to see, because you said that's unusual.
Yeah, no, you want me to tell you exactly how it went down?
Yes, please. And then something about a bug company or spray.
Okay. Let me start. Okay, this is what started it all. And I wish we could sit down and talk like in person, but we can do this over the phone. And I've been expecting your call. So basically, this is where it started, because I'm the guy who knew something was wrong, okay? Me and her were working on the mitigation, fire mitigation up there. And so me and her have been talking, texting, email, back and forth about all this stuff, okay? And so basically, all of a sudden, there was 2.5 weeks was the last time I heard from her. Okay, and so I was like, I thought she was mad at me, because Betsy was very good at, if you did something, because everything was so private. If she heard that I had said that, oh yeah, I worked for them, which she had in the past, I would get a scolding and I would get cold shoulder, okay? And so I thought something was wrong like that. I thought she was mad at me, and that's why she cut off communication, okay? And so we had this materials ordered, and these materials, they just stopped all of a sudden too. So I thought, gosh, she must be really mad at me, because she must have cut off those orders we had for this fire mitigation. And like 2 weeks went by, and then, 2.5 weeks, because this was the other day, I get a call from one of the places for delivery, okay? And they're going to deliver to my shop. And I was like, are you sure you got the right address? And they're like, no, we got the right address. So at that time, I was like, what the heck's going on? So I called Dwayne, and I said, Dwayne, when was the last time you talked to Betsy and Gene? And he's like, oh, God, partner, it's been like 3 weeks. I think they're mad at me. And I'm like, oh, shit. I'm like, okay. And so I knew something was wrong, because she don't just totally cut off communications for that long. She'll give you a cold shoulder for like 3 days, and then she'll restart. After she gives you a scolding or something, she'll restart communications, okay? So that's when I knew something was wrong at that point, okay? So I told Dwayne, I actually called a buddy of mine. He's an investigator with the state. His name's Paul Prentice, and I called him and told him what was going on. And I told him, we need to do a wellness check. And how do I do this? Because this ain't no ordinary person's house. And he told me, and the other thing was, I'm not allowed up there. I can only be up there when she says, Jesse, you were allowed it in on this day, that day, from this time to this time. So if I was to just show up there and check on him, I would be in trouble, okay? So I went through Paul, asked Paul, hey, how could I do this? What can I do? Can you go with me? And he said, this is what we're going to have to do. We have to get a hold of one of her family members, and they have to give the okay. They're going to have to call the police, and we have to take that route, okay? And so at that point, they are so private. I don't know any of their family, okay? I don't know none of their families. So the only person I know that knows some of the family is a realtor here in town that we deal with on some of the commercial properties. And he knows her mom, who lives in Hawaii. And so I called him and told him, dude, I think something's wrong. I think we need to get a hold of her mom. And so at that point, we got a hold of the mom, actually the guy who works for the mom, because mom's really old. And we got a hold of Chris. I can't remember. You guys have dealt with him. Chris Fitzpatrick or whatever his name is. And so we got a hold of him, okay? And everybody during all this time and days going by are like, oh, yeah, it's probably just, so-and-so. And so basically he tries calling her. He tries emailing her. He don't get through. And she's usually really quick to get back to him. And so basically at that point, we're like, yeah, something's seriously wrong. And so I called Paul and told him, hey, can you go with me? How are we going to do this? And he's all, being that I know you, we need to take my supervisor over here, and that way it's not a conflict of interest. And we probably also need to call in a marked unit. And so yesterday we had the call in with her mom to call the state police here, set it up, and then we were all going to go up there together, okay? And so we were all going to go up there together, and her mom's old, and we're talking about 3 or 4 hours difference in time to Hawaii, okay? And so the whole time I'm thinking at work, I'm like, shit, am I wrong about all this? Am I going to get in trouble? Am I going to show up there with two investigators and a state cop, and they're going to come out and tell me, what the hell are you doing here, Jesse? We're sick. We got the flu or something like that. And so I told myself at that point, I was like, I'm going to go up, see if I can find the security guard and ask him at the gate, Ron, see if I can see, hey, have you seen them? What's going on? And so I go flying up to the summit. Ron's not at the guardhouse, okay? And then I go up to the house, and I go and I walk and I look, the trash cans are still empty, nobody's come out of the gate. I can just tell there's no tracks coming out of that gate. And so I was like, shit, okay, I guess we got to do this. And then I went to leave. And when I went to leave, I left, and I was like, shit, did I shut the gate? Because she has dogs. And I was like, you better go back and make sure that you shut the gate. So I'm backing up to see if I shut the gate, and here comes Bugman. He's pulling out of there, okay? And so I stopped him, and I told him my exact words to him were, hey, how's it going? And I asked him, I was like, have you seen anything irregular there, out of the ordinary? And he's all, yeah, I did. I saw the dogs were all out barking at me, and they're never out. And I said, yeah, dude, they're not supposed to be out. If anyone's here, they are never supposed to be out. And so at that point, I knew something was wrong. And then I told him my exact words were, you know whose house this is? And he's like, I do, it's Gene Hackman's. And I said, okay, keep your mouth shut about what I told you just now and all that stuff, okay? Just keep your mouth shut. And he's like, what do I tell my boss? So I guess he couldn't spray or do what he had to do. And I told him, have your boss, Ramon, call Dwayne, and Dwayne will explain it. And then at that point, I called Paul Prentice, and I told him, dude, this is going on. Something obviously bad is going on, because those dogs are not supposed to be out when people are here. And he was like, and I told him, should I just go in? Should I just go in there now? And he's like, and right as I'm talking to him, then here comes Ron pulling up, and I waved at him, and I'm like, hey, Ron, come here. And I told Ron, I was like, Ron, and Paul's still on the phone. And I told Ron, when was the last time you saw them? And he's like, oh, God, it's been about 3 weeks. And that's where everybody's lining out. 3 weeks ago. 2.5, 3 weeks ago is when everyone, and that's when I said, shit, Paul, he just said it's been 3 weeks that they've seen anyone, bro. And Paul said, is he the security guard? And I said, yes. And Paul said, then get him and go in there and go see what the hell's going on. Okay? We walk down. First door I get to is the kitchen door. That's the door I always go through. Okay? It was locked. That was weird. And I even told Ron, this is weird. This door's never locked. We go to the main entry door. It's locked. It's never locked. Okay? Mm-hmm. And the dogs are barking at us the whole time. The dogs are barking over there. Ron said, well, let's walk over there. Let's see if we see someone over there on the lawn. And so we got on that little rock path, and we're walking by. We're like looking down. I know that was Betsy's bathroom. And we're walking around there, and that's when we saw her. And that's when we saw her. And then I told Ron, call somebody. We got to call somebody. And so I called Paul. And I told Paul, I just found her. She's gone. And Paul told me, you got to call the state police. And I told him, can you call the state police? And he said, no, you guys have to call it. And by that time, me and Ron are both pretty fucking hysterical. And we're trying, I was like, can you give me the number? And he kept repeating the number. And I was telling Ron, and we were having the hardest time trying to dial it and make the call. And then finally Ron got out and made the call. And that's exactly how it went yesterday. And that's how it's gone for, since I thought something was wrong.
Well, I appreciate the detail you gave. You gave a lot of good information that I should have got from you yesterday, but
yeah.
So you have access to the gate, and you said you have your own code, right? Or is it the same code to the home gate?
I use the same code that Dwayne uses. It's a pound 2121.
Okay, so everybody uses that, bug sprayers, anybody that's doing maintenance there?
I don't know, everyone has their own codes. Everyone's got their own codes. I don't know who uses what.
Okay.
And I tried the intercom too. I tried the intercom yesterday. I tried it, like I think it was the day before I went up. I looked at the garbage cans. And,
so you opened the gate, was it closed? When you first drove up?
No, I went through the little gate, but I used the intercom to try and call the house both days that I went. I was trying to see if somebody would answer or something. But yeah, no, I never used the code to go in and drive in there. Because for one, if the dogs were out, I didn't want to run one of them over or something like that if I was to go drive in or something. So I just looked in the gate, the little gate.
Are you talking about the one, not the vehicle gate, but
the main gate?
Yeah, the main gate.
Main gate, I always punch pound 2121 to get to main gate. And then that works at third gate. For me, that works at third gate too.
Okay, and then you drive all the way, you drive all the way down, and then, I guess we're going to call it 3 tiers.
No, they have an intercom at their gate. Their gate has an intercom.
Yeah, so you go through North Summit, which has a gate code, and then once you go through North Summit, you go all the way up to their house, and then that has another gate code to go straight down to their house.
Yes.
Did you go through the second one as well?
No.
So you just...
I went up there, I did not go through the second one. But remember, yesterday we were punching codes like heck, me and Dwayne, when we were trying to open gates and all that. And I think Ron yelled at me too when the ambulance showed up. Ron yelled at me, and I yelled at him from down by the house, pound 2121. And so it was used yesterday when the ambulance came in.
Okay, so who was first on scene? Was it the ambulance or firefighters or who?
Ambulance first. I'm pretty sure it was the ambulance, and they walked down. And, they were asking names, and I was trying to tell them that this needs to be kept quiet, which didn't stay quiet for long.
Okay, so the ambulance got there. They didn't did they walk inside of the house? Did you see them walking in the house?
They actually walked up. They looked in, and I mean, it's obvious that she had been gone for a while. They went to walk in. I told them, no, I was told to stay outside. Maybe you guys should wait outside until the investigators show up. And the guy's like, I'm just going to look in a little bit. Two of them did walk in a little ways and look around. And I told him, for all we know, he's in there, and he slipped his lid, and he's got a gun. And that's what I told him. They still went in. And then him and Ron, two of them and Ron walked around the property. I stayed right there the whole time. I never left right there.
Okay. And then deputies got there?
Yes. Deputies got there.
Alright, so the bug guy, was the gate already open? Not the Summit gate, but the actual house, the property gate.
When I was backing up to go check and see if I left the little gate open, he was coming out of their gate. And I stopped him. And that's when I had my conversation with him.
So he opened the gate from the inside through the pressure plate.
Exactly.
And the gate started to open.
So when he got there, he obviously punched a code, and when he left, the pressure sensor picked him up and opened for him.
What did he look like?
Oh, God, I can't remember his name. He's a white guy, older guy, missing teeth. I've met him up there before, and he made that clear that I've met you here before, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's a real nice guy, but, I don't see how he didn't. He probably didn't go over there because he couldn't spray, but I was thinking, I don't see how he didn't see her.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, did he go to the front of the door and knock and then nobody answers, so he left? Or did he, I don't know.
Yeah, you'd have to ask him. I don't know. I don't know. But my take on it is he probably did it because the dogs were around her and they did not want to leave her side, and they were barking at us. Okay. They were barking at us pretty good. And so he probably just said, "Oh God, I'm not going over there."
So he probably just stayed in his truck once he saw the dogs barking.
Yeah, because he kept telling me, "Well, what do I tell my boss? What do I tell my boss?" I guess it was because he couldn't spray or what I told him about, hey, don't go and tell people that, what's going on up here. I'm very worried about them.
Well, you said, I know that you provided the deputy with information saying that it was a Ramon, and then you...
Yeah, Ramon is that's the guy who owns the Bugman. And so he was calling Dwayne when we were there yesterday, and Dwayne was like, I can't deal with this right now. And so he probably wanted to know he was probably going to ask Dwayne what the hell's going on,
Well, I don't know where this goes. Let's see. I took a picture of it. Ramon and the company's called Bug Guy?
The Bugman.
The Bugman.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask you something else. I'm gonna need the emails between you and Betsy and any text messages. Is there any way you can come to the sheriff's office?
I could give you my computer, you know what I mean? I guess I could forward them all.
Yeah.
Texts. You could go through my phone. I'll let you take my stuff, and you can probably go through it all. I'll let you. I don't know. Text. I don't know how I would forward because they're back and forth from her and me. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Maybe with the text you can screenshot. Let me talk to my supervisor, see what he suggests. If either you come in and we'll take pictures with our camera, or see if you can just email it to us. I'll check with them.
That would probably be best because I don't know. I'd rather you guys can look at my computer, take your pictures, go through it, do whatever you want. My cell phone.
I appreciate your cooperation, and I was just trying to get information.
You guys got a job to do, and I know you guys got to get to the bottom of things, and I am willing to cooperate any way possible. And to me, something looks like it's not right, and I definitely want to figure out what the hell happened.
Yes.
And I was close to them both, and they treated me like gold for 16 years, and I'll tell you what, I'm major heartbroken over this.
Yeah, no, definitely, man. Yeah, I'll give you a call here in a second and talk it over with my supervisor, see what he wants.
Yeah, let me know, and then I can go meet you, and I'll take my computer, my cell phone. Anything else?
All right, I will try to give you a call within 20 minutes, although I don't know if I will, just because they want a lot of information, so I'll try to get back to you within 20-30 minutes.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Thank you. Bye-bye.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
And record interview with Jesse Kessler.